Have you ever tried placing a design on a blank like this, but you're just guessing where it's going to land? When you can't see the opening underneath, getting things lined up can be really frustrating. Hello, welcome to Creating the Goods. I'm Wendy. Today, I'm showing you my method for perfect placement every single time using blanks with an opening like this. We'll create a template and I'm going to show you how to find the coordinates for a favorite location to make your keychain even more unique. I'll also show you how to use pattern fills in Cricut Design Space to get this look and how to use that opening to lock in your alignment so everything is perfectly straight. This makes a great gift, especially with the custom box, and I'll be showing you how to make this in my next video. So let's get busy, and I'll meet you in Cricut Design Space. Okay, here we are in Cricut Design Space. Let's start by creating a template so we can position our designs perfectly. I'll come up over to the left, and I'll click on Shapes, then I'll add a circle and a square. I'm also going to duplicate the circle, then I'll go up to the color box at the top, and I'm going to change the color to red. I'll zoom in so we can see exactly what we are doing. I'll take our main keychain base, which is already at the correct 2-inch measurement, and I'll change that to white. Next, I'll go down to the bottom right, and I'm going to change our canvas to gray to make the details even easier to see. I'm using these shapes because I measured my physical blank. My keychain is 2 inches, the opening is 1/8 of an inch, and the space from the outer edge to the opening is exactly 1/16 of an inch. So let's take our square, go up to the top, keeping the locked so to keep everything proportionate. We're changing this to 0.125. This square is going to act as our spacer to set the exact distance to the opening. Now I'll highlight both the circle and the square. I'll go up to the top where it says Align. I'll scroll down to Align Top. Then I'll do the same thing, but this time I will click Center horizontally. This gives us the perfect measured placement for where our opening needs to be. Next is the red circle. Now the physical opening on the blank is 1/16 of an inch, which is about 0.063, but I'm actually setting mine to 0.05. I purposely want this smaller than the actual opening so it doesn't cause any ghosting around the edges. This red circle isn't meant to be the opening itself. It's a physical window for your design. It allows you to see right through to the paper to match your design perfectly to your blank, making that alignment just so much easier. I'm going to zoom in even more so we can see exactly what we are doing. Now, I'll place our red circle right at the bottom of the square. I'll highlight both layers. I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to click Align. Scroll down to Center horizontally. This locks in the exact distance from the edge of our blank to our opening. Now, I'll delete the square spacer, being careful not to move the red circle. With that gone, I'll highlight both the white base and the red circle. Then I'll come down to the bottom right and click Slice. This creates our opening. I'll head over to the Layers panel, delete both the cutout pieces and the small red circle. I don't need to have the red circle anymore. Now, we have a 2-inch template that is a perfect match for our physical blank. Next, I want to create a bleed to make sure our design covers the entire surface. It's better to have a little overhang so we don't get any accidental white borders. I'm going to come up here to the top, click Edit, scroll down to Offset. You can see you can use the sliders to increase or decrease the size, but I'm going to type in 0.05 and click Apply. I know this works. I have tried this off camera. So this is exactly the size I need. You'll see that this brings my total size to 2.1 inches, and that's exactly the size I was after. I'm using the offset tool specifically because it keeps the opening point in the exact right spot while giving me that extra bit of design to cover the edges. If I just resize the circle, it would shift my opening entirely. Now I'm highlighting both layers, clicking slice in the bottom right. You'll see that this gives us a few results. Our original 2-inch blank, the inner circle, the outer ring from our offset, and the sliced out opening. I'm going to delete this extra layer. We don't need it anymore. It's essentially just a copy of our blank, which we already have. We want to focus on our 2.1-inch offset. To get this exactly right, I'll go to the bottom right and I'm going to click Contour. I'm clicking this to add back everything except our opening. When I click Apply, you'll see we now have a solid 2.1-inch template that gives us that perfect bleed. Just to show you how precise this is, when I place our 2-inch blank on top and center it, you can see those openings line up exactly. Now that we've used this to verify our template, I'll go ahead and delete the 2-inch blank. We now have our master template ready to go. Next, I'm going to show you a feature that you may not know about if you are new to Cricut Design Space. It's called Pattern Fill. I'll go over to the left and click Upload. Now, instead of clicking Image, we're going to click Pattern Fill. I'll click the Upload pattern, and then I'll click Browse. And here is the bundle file I have already downloaded from Creative Fabrica. Here's the pattern that we are going to use. I'll leave a link for this specific bundle below if you are interested. Once you select the pattern, click Open. You can name it and tag the colors, and I'm going to pick pink, white, and yellow to represent the gold. This helps a lot when you are searching your library later. Then just click Upload. It brings you back to the upload screen, and it looks like it didn't do anything. Don't worry. Just click Cancel. What we need to do is change our template from Basic Cut to Print Then Cut. So let's go up to the top under Operations where it says Basic Cut. Scroll down to Print Then Cut. Now we could add our pattern. Go up to the color swatch, click the down arrow, and select Pattern. Your new pattern should upload and be the very first one you see. But you'll also notice that Cricut has included a variety of their own patterns in here as well. We're going to click on our pattern and it applies right to our template. Now, it doesn't look great yet, but we can fix that. I'll zoom out, go back to that pattern swatch at the top. I'll click Edit Pattern. I love using this feature because it gives you a total control over the placement without having to make any permanent cuts to your design. You can use the up and down arrows to move the pattern in or out, but I prefer just to use the slider and move it until I like what I see. Next, I'll use the arrows to adjust the pattern horizontally and vertically. For the horizontal position, I'm just going to set this to 18, and that looks good. Then we'll move it vertically to shift the pattern up and down until it sits right where I want it to on our template. Now, I'm going to rotate the pattern so the white part is right at the top. And you could also just insert a number here to make the process faster. You can also flip it horizontally or vertically if you want to as well. You'll just have to play around with these different functions until you get the look that you like. You'll also notice that our template that is underneath is corresponding with what we are editing in our editing pattern box. So once you like everything that you see, we're just going to click on the X and close out our editing box. Now that looks great. What we need to do is duplicate one for the back. And I'm also going to go up to the top and I'm going to flip it horizontally. So it will look the same on the front as it does the back when the keychain is turned over. Doing it this way allows you to arrange the design exactly how you want it. And it also saves on ink. Now, let's click the eye in the Layers panel here on the right and hide the back template for now so we can work on our front. Now, let's add a design from Cricut's library. So I'll go over to the left, click Images, and type in New Home. I'm just going to scroll down until I find one that I like. And this one is perfect. I'll click it to add it to my canvas and then make it a little smaller. This design has several layers, so let's ungroup it so we can change the colors to match our theme. First, I'll change the flowers. Since these are not a separate piece, I'm just going to make it the same color. I'll click on one flower. I'm going to hold the Shift key down on my computer and click on the other. Then I'll go up to the color swatch here at the top and just pick a pretty green. I want them to be a little darker, so I'll click on Advance, and I'm going to move the color selector around until I find that perfect shade, and that looks good. Next, I'll hold down the Shift key on my computer and I'll select each of the hearts. Then I'll go up to the top and I'll change them to red to give them a nice pop of color. For the house, I want it to be a pretty pink, and this pink is not doing it for me. I wanted to match the pink in our pattern exactly, and to do that, I'm going to use a special technique with a color dropper. I actually learned this from Kayla over at Kayla's Cricut Creations. It's an absolute game changer. She actually did a whole video on this. If you want to learn more about it, I'll be sure to list that link down in the description box below. I'm using the Color Pick Eyedropper extension. I'm just going to lower my window so we can see how to use this better. I'll click the eyedropper extension here at the top and the drop-down color box will open. I'll click the Pick Color. Now I'll hover over the darker pink in our pattern, click to grab that specific color, and it gives me the exact hex code. I'll click these little boxes to copy that hex code. Now I'll go back to my color swatch, come down to the bottom and delete this hex code. Then on my computer, I will click Command V on my Mac. For my window users, you'll click Control V. And just like that, the house matches the pink in our pattern perfectly. I'll highlight everything and click Group. Size it down and move it onto our template. That looks good for now, and we'll just adjust it later if we need to. Now, I want to add a saying, so I'll come over here to the left, click Images. I already have a design in mind, so I will come up to the top, click these two lines, which shows us all the filters. I'll scroll down to Bookmark, and here's our design. I'll add it to the canvas. Because we are zoomed in, it came in really large. So I'm just going to size it down and make it easier to work with. Okay, and that's a lot better. I love the saying. It has a pretty font that says home, and under that it starts with a design of a heart. Then it reads, where love resides, memories are created. Friends are always welcome and laughter never ends. And it ends with another image of a heart. I thought this sentiment would work well for a friend of mine who just purchased a new home. Now, this design only has one layer, but I want to change the hearts to red. So I will duplicate the design, come down to Contour here on the right. To make it easier, I will click Hide All Contours. Then add each of the hearts back. Then contour out the word Home and click Apply. Now we are just left with the hearts. I'll go up to the top, click on the color swatch, and I'm going to change it to the same red as the hearts from our house. We need to remove the hearts from this design. So I will click on Contour at the bottom right. This time I will just click each of the hearts and then click Apply. I will add our hearts to our design. I'll highlight everything, click Group, and next I will just size and align it on our template, as well as adjust the house, making it look a little smaller. Once I am happy with the layout, I need to make sure everything stays within the safe zone, so nothing gets cut off during the pressing process. So I'll go over to the left, click on Shapes, click on a circle, which is 2 inches, go up to the top to Operations, and change it from basic cut to guide. I'll place it over our template to make sure all of our elements are well within our 2-inch boundaries. Okay, and that looks good. Instead of deleting it, I'm just going to click on the eye to hide it and save it for the back of our template. Now I'll highlight all the layers and click group, and I'm just going to move this over. Now let's work on the back. I'll go over here to the right in the layers panel, and I'll unclick the eye icon. And I want to put a copy of the house on the back. So I need to ungroup the front, and I should have thought of that beforehand. And then click on the house and click the plus sign to duplicate it. Then I'm just going to highlight everything again and click group. And I'm just going to move this out of the way again. For the back, I'll go to the right, click on shapes, select a circle to use as my base, and I'm just going to size it to 1.5 for now, keeping the lock so it stays proportionate. I want to change the color, so I'll use the eyedropper method again. I'll lower my window, click on the eyedropper icon at the top to open the color box. Then I'll click Pick Color. I'll hover over our pattern this time. I'm going to go with this pretty light pink. I'll click these little boxes to copy the hex code. I'll go back to my color swatch at the top, click Advance, come down to the bottom and delete the hex code. Then on my computer, I'll click Command V on my Mac. For my window users, you'll click Control V. Okay, I now have the pretty light pink that matches our pattern. I'll place this on the back, highlight both the layers, go up to the top, click on Align, and then come down and click Center Align. Now that our base is all ready, we can move on to the personal touch that makes this gift so special, the coordinates. This specific keychain is for a new home, but you can do this for weddings, the hospital where a baby was born, or even a favorite vacation spot. It's a way to mark a special location forever. It's way more personal than a store-bought gift, and you don't have to share your private address on the design. I'm using the White House as our location for privacy reasons, but you'll just plug in your own specific address. To get started, I'm going to head over to Google Maps and type in White House. I'm using this again for privacy reasons, but you can just plug in your own address that you want to use. I'm going to right-click the marker, then I'll click on the coordinates, and they'll be copied to the clipboard. We're going to head back to Design Space. I'll go over to the left, and I'm going to open up a text box and click Paste. Now we have a long string here, but we only need the first 4 decimal places. Since our 5th number is an 8, we're just going to round that up to a 9, giving us 38.8979. Now to add the degree symbol, I'm just going to use Option plus Shift plus 8 on the keyboard of my Mac. Now, if you are my window user, you're just going to click on Alternate plus 0176. Then just add N for north. For our second coordinate, that negative sign just means it's west. I'll remove the negative, keep the number at 77.0365 since the next digit is low, and I'm just going to add a W for west. Then I'm just going to copy the degree symbol and then just click Paste. Next, I want to change the font. So I'll go up to the top, click on Font, and I want to select a bold style. So I already have one in mind, and I'm going to click on Bookmark, which is up at the top. I'm going to scroll down, and here it is, Arial Black. I'm going to click on that. Okay, and that looks nice. Next, I want to move our lines closer together. So I'll go up to Edit, and I'm going to scroll down to where it says Line Space, and I'm just going to use these arrows to make our lines go closer together. And I think that looks good. Now, I want to give it an offset to make it really stand out. So I'll go over to Offset, and I'm just going to adjust the slider to give it a nice pop, and then click Apply. Okay, and that looks nice. Next, I'll go over to the Layers panel, click on the offset, and I'll go up to the color swatch to change it to white. I'm just going to close the side panel, then I'll highlight both the offset and our coordinates and click Group. Now, I can use the corner handles to make it smaller. I'm just going to zoom in a little. I'll start placing our coordinates onto our base, then I'll bring the house over, and I'm going to go up to the top and select Bring it to the front. I'll place it right above the numbers, use the corner handles to scale it down. To make sure they are perfectly lined up, I'll hold the Shift key on my keyboard, click both the house and our coordinates, then go up to Align and select Center horizontally. Once they look perfect, I'll click Group. I'm going to make the base just a little bit bigger so it fills the space nicely. Then I'll just center align that right onto our template. I'll nudge it down just a smidge. You want to make sure your design doesn't interfere with the opening. Now, I'll bring our circle guide back. I'm going to center it onto the template just to do a final fit check to see if everything is sitting nicely. And that looks great. I'll do one last check on the front side. And since everything is perfect, I'll just delete the guide. We don't need it anymore. For the final and most important step, we need to highlight our designs, come down to the bottom right and click Flatten. This tells Design Space we want a print and cut project. Now we're all set. I'll go up to the top and I'm going to click Make. Here we are on the Prepare screen, and I'm going to change the material size to 8.5 by 11. Now before I click Continue, I'm going to slide the mirror toggle to on. There is a specific reason why I'm doing this here in Design Space and not in my printer settings. I'll show you why in just a second. Let's click Continue. Now I'll click Send to Printer. In this preview, you'll notice the sensor mark, specifically this arrow is on the left. This is key to loading your paper correctly. You'll see our design is mirrored perfectly. Now look at the difference. If you try to mirror this in your printer settings instead of here, that arrow moves to the right and the whole design shifts. While the machine might still find the sensor marks, because the design has shifted, it won't be able to align the cut. You'll end up with a ruined project. By mirroring it here in Design Space, we keep that arrow on the left and our alignment spot on for perfect cut. I'll click Print, and I'm going to change this to my Brother SP1 Sublimation printer. I only want one copy, and I'm going to keep the bleed on. And then I'll toggle on the System dialog box, and then I'll just click Print. Next, I'll load my paper. I'm using Brothers Sublimation paper, so I'm just going to make sure that this cut edge is placed on the right side to ensure it prints on the correct side of the sheet. Now, back to my settings. I'm going to make sure Brother SP1 is selected, and it is. I'm going to make sure it's on color. The paper size is 8.5 by 11, and for the paper type and quality, I'm going to select Transfer and Normal. Now, looking at the layout setting, I'm not going to flip that horizontally here. We already saw what would happen to our alignment if we try to flip it in our printer setting. We're all set. Now, all we have to do is click Print. Now that our design is printed, I'll click Done. I'm going to move on to setting our base materials. I'm going to click Browse All Materials, go up to All Categories, scroll down to Paper, where I'll select Copy Paper. Now in hindsight, I probably should have picked heavy copy paper, and I'll show you why a little later on. I'll click Done, keep the pressure at default, though again, I might have benefited from a little more pressure here, and I'll explain that more in a minute. I'm using the fine point blade, so all I need to do now is load my mat. I'm using the HTV Ront Light Grip mat, which I really like. I'll place my design down, making sure that arrow we talked about is on the left side of our mat. I'll use my brayer to make sure the paper is smoothed down and attached well to the mat. I'll load the mat into the machine, and my Maker 3 will measure it to ensure everything is the right size. Once the go button starts flashing, I'll click it. The machine will start reading those registration marks so it knows exactly where to cut around our image. Once that's finalized, it will begin to cut. Once it's done, I'll unload the mat. I'll flip the mat over and peel the mat away from the paper. It keeps everything flat and prevents tearing. I actually forgot to check if it cut all the way through before unloading it. And I also should have used maybe a different setting for my material, more pressure. However, I am able to remove my design, but I have to do it slowly and carefully so it doesn't tear. Okay, and that looks good. Now that our design is cut out, let's head over to the craft table and get this pressed. Before we start, make sure you have a fan going or good ventilation in your workspace. Sublimation produces gases and odors as the ink heats up, so you want to make sure you're working in a well-ventilated area. I'm starting by setting my heat press to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 60 seconds. And then I'm just going to move that off to the side so it can reach temperature while we prep the blank. These 2-inch blanks come with a blue protective film to prevent scratches, which I really like. This allows me to know that there is a protective film on it. It can be a little tricky to grab, so I'm using my weeding hook just to catch the edge, and then I'm just going to peel it back. I'll make sure I will do that for the other side as well. This is where the template really pays off that we made in Design Space. I'm using the opening we created as my guide to center the design onto the blank. It might be hard to see here on camera, but when I turn this over, I can see daylight through the opening. That's how I know it is perfectly aligned. I've got my heat-resistant mat down to protect my table, and I'm going to be adding a piece of copy paper to protect against any blowout. I'll place the blank down, and I'm just going to line up the design face down. I'll use some heat-resistant tape to secure it into place, especially right around the center opening, so it doesn't create any white marks or ghosting. I'll add one more piece of copy paper on top, and then I'll apply the press with just light pressure. You want to stay steady so nothing shifts during those 60 seconds. Once it's done, I'll lift it straight up so it doesn't cause any ghosting. I'm going to remove my copy paper. You should allow it to cool, but I'm a little impatient. I'm just going to take a peek. You'll want to check that it's sublimated fully before you remove all the tape. If it needs more time, you can still save it by pressing it a little bit more. That looks great. And I'm just going to start pulling the rest of the tape off. Now that looks beautiful. There's no ghosting or white edges. Everything is lined up perfectly, and all the details made it onto the keychain. Now, because this is MDF board, the heat can cause it to warp. To keep it perfectly flat, I like to set something heavy on it, like this ream of cardstock, immediately after pressing. Once that's cool, we'll repeat the same process for the back. I'll put a piece of copy paper down, line up both the openings, then I'll tape it down and press it for another 60 seconds. Another quick peek, and that turned out beautiful. One last stay under the cardstock to keep it flat, and we are done. Now that everything is pressed and fully cooled, let's go ahead and put our keychain together. Looking at the keychain, the front and the back, the colors look good and it's aligned perfectly. That extra bleed made sure everything is on our keychain that needs to be. Now, this kit came with 20 blanks, a variety of different colored tassels, keychains, and jump rings. Enough to make 20 keychains. If you are interested, I will list this kit for you down below. I'm going to use the pink tassel, which I really think goes nicely with our keychain. You will need some pliers for this. I'll take my jump ring and pliers and grab one end of the jump ring and insert it into the opening of the blank. Then I'll place one of the rings of the chain onto the jump ring. I'll take the other pair of pliers on the other side and gently wiggle the jump ring back and forth until both ends meet. Next, I will add my tassel. I think the pink tassel really finishes it off nicely. What do you think? Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below. And there you have it. It turned out beautiful. See how the text is perfectly straight and centered exactly where it should be? No guessing required. And the coordinates just give it that special touch. It turned out beautiful. Now, stay tuned for my next video where I will show you how to create the matching gift box to complete this set. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give me a like and click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos, especially this matching gift box. Bye for now.